Hello and welcome to the third and final day revealing the athletes of Red Bull X-Alps 2023. This is the exciting time when we get to see who will be at the start line in next year's race. Shortly, we're going to be joined by the race's co-founder, Ulrich Grill, and we're going to chat all about the lineup. And we're also going to be joined remotely by one of the all-time greats of Red Bull X-Alps history. But first, let's take a look at the 24 athletes who have made the cut so far.
Paul Guschelbauer, Austria 2. Thomas Friedrich, Austria 3. James Elliott, Canada. Junming Song, China. Damien Lacaze, France 2. Paul Takats, Hungary. Tobias Gross-Rabacha, Italy 1. Aaron Duragati, Italy 2. Michał Gilak, Poland. Yael Margalish, Switzerland 3. Sepp Iniger, Switzerland 4. Cedar Wright, USA 2. Simon Oberauner, Austria 1. Elisabeth Egger, Austria 4. Andrei Prochaska, Czech Republic. Laurie Genovese, France 3. Tanguy Renaud Good, France 5. Maximilian Leudl, Germany 2. Céline Lawrence, Germany 3. Nicola Donini, Italy 3. Emoto Yuji, Japan. Tomo Kokonia, Romania. Lennart Oblak, Slovenia. Patrick von Kernel, Switzerland 2.
So the key takeaways so far, there are 4 women. We've got Yael Margalish and Laurie Genovese back again. We've also got the rookies Céline Lawrence and Elisabeth Egger, who previously supported Aaron Duragati, so she's no stranger to the race. We've also got some big hitters taking part, anyone who could challenge Kriegel for the crown. They include last year's 2nd and 3rd place athletes, Patrick von Kernel and Simon Oberauner. Also Paul Guschelbauer and Aaron Duragati are back, Tobias Gross-Rabacha and Nick Donini. Tomo Kokonair is also back in the mix, which will please Romanian fans. And as we learned from Ulrich yesterday, he doesn't get a free pass. He still has to prove himself every year. We also have our first athlete from China, Junming Song. And also from America, we have the well-known climber Cedar Wright taking part. He's led ascents, first ascents all around the world. But the question is, can he do the world's toughest adventure race? Let's see. So we've waited long enough. Let's take a look at the final athletes to be announced in Red Bull X-Alps 2023.
Richard Binstead, Australia. Tom de Dorlodot, Belgium. Jordi Villalta, Spain. Maxime Pinot, France 1. Tim Alongi, France 4. Marcus Anders, Germany 1. Lucas Hofer, Italy 4. Kinga Mastalats, New Zealand. Kriegel Mara, Switzerland 1. Reto Reiser, Switzerland 5. Logan Walters, USA 1.
So Ulrich, it's great to welcome you back. Quick recap now, we've revealed all the athletes, so that's 35, which is more than any time in the race's history. We've got 5 women, we've got 17 countries represented, and almost an equal number of ratio between veterans and rookies. It must have been very difficult to select these athletes.
Yes, Tarkin, at the end of the day, it's always like a tricky question, who do you bring on and who not? There's so many talented athletes out there these days. We're specifically proud that we have 5 women in the race, like the most women ever. So this will be very exciting to see a race within the race there. But then the selection has been very interesting, very exciting, and I also think it's by far the strongest field we ever had.
You mentioned the women. Could you ever see a time where we have a female-only category in the Red Bull X-Alps?
Well, this time we didn't really expect to have like 5 women being selected. So maybe this is the start of it. So we'll just, talk about this internally with the race committee. But it's definitely a very interesting topic to look at.
And lastly, the question we always ask every edition, do you think this could be the year that someone else wins the Red Bull X-Alps?
Well, I guess every edition it can be. Sometimes we hope for, but sometimes Kriegel is the guy, who's just such a legend. So anytime he wins, it's like we have to we have to give our chapeau to his achievement. But for sure, this streak of success will have to end at some point.
Ulrich, let's leave it there. Thank you very much for your time. Now we'd like to welcome our next guest. Now he was the youngest athlete way back in 2007. He's not the oldest now, but he's definitely one of the most respected and admired athletes in the field. He is, of course, Tom de Dorlodot, and he joins us remotely all the way from the Azores. Tom, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. How are you doing?
So Tom, you've only just seen the list of athletes yourself. First impressions.
Yeah, man, I'm just opening it now. I've been reading the names and stuff, and this is incredible. I think this is going to be super exciting. Of course, we missed some big names out there. Friends of ours that have been there for a while, but it's super cool to see so many women, Laurie, Yael, and the other girls. That's super cool to see them coming into the comp, and also big names and names we've been waiting for many years actually. Some of them, wanted to take part 2 years ago, and they are back now, and this is going to be pretty hard, I think. The level's going up again and again, and it's every 2 years the same story. So I'm super excited about it.
It's also interesting because, as you say, there are some big names missing. There's no Gavin McClurg, no Ferdy van Shelven, Benoit Uter, also Manu Nubel can't do it as well. And these are all athletes who didn't apply. They have various reasons they can't do it next year. So will the race be the same without them?
Yeah, that's interesting because as you can see, like those guys were always playing into the top 10 or top 15. They were playing in France, and that's I knew about Ferdi. Ferdi told me that he wouldn't have time. I'm trying to get him in my team, as a supporter, or that would be amazing. I didn't know about Benoit. That's sad not to have him. I really like his spirit and his sportsmanship. Gavin, of course, is a big name out there. He's been there for many years and pushing. I'm sure he's going to be watching. So it's changing, but some people go, some people come. Some people will come back again for sure. So this is super cool. But I see a lot of names that we've seen before. And also the girls, and I think it's super cool to see so many girls out there.
We have a lot of athletes from interesting backgrounds. In fact, we have 2 athletes who previously were professional biathletes and competed in the Olympics. We've also got the well-known alpinist and big wall climber Cedar Wright taking part. I wonder, does a kind of background in climbing, does that give you a good mindset for a race like this?
I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, yes and no. It's an interesting question, but I've been following Cedar for many years, and he's a big name out there. He's really well known for his climbing with Alex Honnold and all those guys. He's been pushing for many years. I've been following, and then I actually saw him starting paragliding, and this is super exciting because this guy, he just came with no paragliding background at all some years back, and in a few years, in 3 or 4 years, he's learned as much as he needs to be and take part in the X-Alps. This is amazing. And I've been watching as his tracks of the last few years, especially this summer and spring. He's been doing a lot of big flights, a lot of flights above 100 kilometers, and so he knows how to fly. What's interesting with climbers and with high mountaineering is that those guys, they have a different mindset. They push. When they're on the wall, they have to push the boundaries and they have to force their way up. And sometimes that doesn't work with paragliding. So I'm just hoping, but I'm sure he's going to stay safe. But I'm just hoping he does. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does in the Alps, because I'm not sure he's very familiar with the Alps. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's been in the Alps before, but so those guys, sometimes they try new lines, they try things that we didn't think about because they don't know the area so well. And they have this mindset of pushing. He's a really strong athlete. So I think it's going to be someone to watch for sure. Yeah.
And what about yourself, Tom? What keeps you coming back year after year?
Man, I'm coming back because I just love the game. It's just the whole thing is unreal. Every 2 years we come there. It's a year and a half of preparation, so it keeps me fit, which is really good. And yeah, just being out there on a new route, discovering new turn points, opening new lines, and flying new places. It's super exciting, and also having all those people following the whole adventure, having a team with you. When we go on a hike and fly alone, we have no supporters. We cannot go as fast, of course, but having a team, you can go really fast, you can push your own boundaries. And for me, that's all about that. It's all about trying to see how fast and how far and how rapidly I can cross the Alps, basically. And yeah, this is going to be something for sure.
And we talk about it being the world's toughest adventure race. Can you give a kind of an insight into how tough it is?
I mean, it's tough, and you be first or you be the last, it's going to be tough anyway. Everyone is pushing to his own limits. And I've seen athletes, walking for days, hours after hours after hours, 1,000 meters of, positive meters. We have, I mean, last time 2 years ago, I have the record of the guy who walked the most. I don't remember exactly, but it was something around 670 kilometers in 10 days or something. So it's crazy. It's crazy, man. And and that's the beauty of it. We all go there and we don't really know what to expect. You don't exactly know what kind of weather you're going to get. Is it going to be windy? Is it going to be good for flying or not? And you have to do with what you have. It's not like a typical competition where you sit on takeoff and wait for the task, and depending on weather, we'll do something or something else. There, you're in the Alps and you just have to go forward, whatever the weather is, and you have to take the right decision not to hurt yourself. And you have 4 hours of sleep per night, and you don't eat really well, and you're exhausted. And so it's a very interesting race. And depending on if you're lucky or not, you can go through very hard moments. But that's why we're here. That's why we take part, and that's why we participate. It's to live life, it's get very intense, and that's very interesting.
Tom, you're probably aware that next year is the 20th anniversary since the first ever Red Bull X-Alps, launching from the Dachstein in 2003. You've been competing since 2007. I wonder what's different about today's race? What would you just kind of not recognize about today's race that makes it kind of different?
Man, it really changed over the years, especially because every 2 years it's getting more, everyone is getting more professional in a way, preparing, in terms of logistic, in terms of the gear that we use. I remember in 2007, some of the pilots came with their typical flying kit, like with a massive harness that was maybe 12 kilograms, and then with a glider, everything was like around 20 kilos, and thinking they would only fly the whole distance. Some of the guys were flying with their tents and sleeping bag in their harness and things like that. Because at the time we had no time limit. Like we didn't have a rest period, so we could go 24/7, and that was really hard on us. You know, everyone was exhausted because we wouldn't sleep much. We were just. I remember falling asleep while hiking. Actually, I fell on the road one day. It's just hiking too much. We with Julien Wirtz in 2009, I think we covered the distance between Zermatt and Chamonix in one push. It was 120K nonstop. So this is what it used to be. But it's interesting to see that even now that we do have the rest period, we're going much faster. I guess because we take better decisions, but also because the gear has evolved a lot. Like the gliders we use now, they fly so much better, so much safer also than almost 20 years ago. You know, so that's a totally different game. And the backpacks, man, it's 6 kilos. It's just crazy to think about. And just crossing the Alps with a 6 kilogram backpack. Now that's beautiful, and that's crazy to see where it goes, and that's amazing to see the level of the pilots now and the flying. It's so intense, and you will see that in the next 2 years, and then in 4 years, and in 6 years, you'll see the gap between the athletes getting to the end of the race getting smaller and smaller because the level is so high and it's getting really tight in front. You know, that's interesting too.
Tom, final question: what's your goal for 2023?
My main goal is to come back home safely, and have a good race, have a good time with my team. That's number one for me. But I would say that if I could push into top 10, top 5 maybe, and finish the race, that would be amazing. That's what I'm training for. I'm trying to push my own boundaries and have a cool adventure. Mostly. But I'm going to play it smart, and I see big names out there and really fast guys on the ground and in the air. So this is going to be super interesting to fly with them, to also learn from each other, and to push and see who gets first.
Tom, that's all we got time for. Good luck with all your preparations for the race and all the other projects that you are working on. So that brings to a close our athletes announcement. To all successful athletes, congratulations. To all unsuccessful athletes, we hope to see you again some other time. Now, all athlete profiles are available online. You can check them out and join the conversation. Let us know what you think and who you're going to support on our social channels. The next big announcement will be to unveil the route, which will be really exciting, and that happens in mid-March. Until then, it's goodbye from us.